Well, an economist at NAB is warning that the Australian economy is hurtling towards a recession not seen since the 1990s, with cost of living pressures and 13 potential rate rises by the RBA in just over a year. Chief NAB economist Alan Oster told Ross Greenwood, not Chris Kenny, yesterday that the RBA is willing to endure a recession to bring inflation down.
So prices are still very sticky. I think they're past the peak. But, they're still not really doing what the Reserve Bank wants. And to get it there, I think the Reserve Bank is saying, well, if we have to have a mild recession, we'll have one.
There are also warnings up to 200,000 Australians could lose their jobs in the next 18 months should the economy go under. Well, joining me now is Ross Greenwood, business editor and the host of Business Now at 4:30 every day, right before my program. Ross, what do you make of this? We're seeing conflicting statements here. We just heard Andrew Charlton say that the RBA is still not forecasting a recession for Australia, and neither is the government. But we are increasingly hear economists coming out to say that, look, it's a 50-50 proposition.
Yeah, it's true. And really, you can see all sorts of indicators towards a recession. Say, for example, last week, the yield curve, which is an indicator of the future of Australia's economy, the short-term interest rates got higher than long-term interest rates. That's a sign that people want to keep their money close at hand rather than investing for the longer term. It's really a sign of confidence more than anything else, but it is one predictor of an economic downturn or a potential recession. The second one that Alan Oster pointed out was from their own surveys that the forward orders for business have fallen. Now, there's only other times that business orders have fallen in this way have been during the COVID recession, during the global financial crisis, and then back in the 1990s recession that they have seen. So it's happening now, and that's another indicator. So all of these things, if you like, are indicators that there is a sharp slowdown coming. That's predicted, but whether it then goes to a recession, remember the Reserve Bank's latest forecasts are predicated really on maybe one interest rate rise, two interest rate rises, but not the two they've already had with another two on top. I think that's the big issue.
Yeah. Look, we're seeing the RBA say that their only lever, obviously, is interest rate rises. The question is that we're all asking is whether the Albanese government is doing enough to ensure that the Australian economy doesn't go into, a recession or suffer really deeply. I mean, apart from lifting productivity, which is a longer-term proposition, what else can it be doing?
Well, it can actually cut its own costs. That's one thing it can do to take supply out. But the reality is, at some point in time, if you do have an economic downturn, governments and the Reserve Bank literally have to stimulate the economy. The Reserve Bank by cutting interest rates, that's now forecast for next year sometime, and the government by literally creating more debt and handing out more support to people who are in need. Because do bear in mind, if 200,000 people become unemployed, that's going to put pressure on the housing markets, and it's going to put pressure on many families who already are struggling with the cost of living. Those people need to be supported. So really it makes the government's own situation far more difficult if you have that scenario into the future. But there's also the situation, remember, the government already says there is no recession coming. But the point is, of course, that's based on the history, not on potential in the future.